What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the future class of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
What's up, Greg?
I like this outfit. All right, you got the Kinda Funny jacket on, hot. You got the Spawn on me shirt, hot.
Yeah.
You're still rocking the beard, hot.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a very good day today, Greg, because the Persona soundtracks are on Spotify now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've been rocking with that all day long?
Yeah, I've been getting my morning start to that. Started off with a little bit of Persona 4, moved on to Persona 5.
Wow.
Listened to a little bit of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Very good day.
As
Very
one
good
does.
start to my day.
As one does. All right,
Of
cool.
course.
What is your hype level for Strikers?
I'm really excited about it. The one thing that has me a bit not down, but like less excited is that I didn't get into Hyrule Warriors at all. And
Gotcha.
I know they're like similar kinds of they're both Musou games. And so they're both within the same genre. The thing that does have me excited is that when the demo originally came to Switch for the Japanese version, I played the demo and the demo was really good. I was very blown away by how well they're able to adapt a lot of the battle system into Persona 5 Strikers. And also they kept pretty much the same style, kept the same level of soundtrack. Like it seems like Persona 5 Strikers is going to have all the things that I want from that kind of game.
On the ones and twos is Boss Baby Barrett Courtney, big Persona fan. What about you? Where are you with Strikers hype?
I'm very excited for all the same reasons that Blessing said, because I also did make a Japanese account on my Switch to be able to play the demo. And yeah, I was really impressed with I've played Musou type games before for IGN and stuff, and they were never really up my alley. But yeah, I was really impressed with the kind of bones of the battle system that Persona 5 has, how well that was integrated into this different battle system. And then also I'm excited because it's kind of a story follow-up. We'll see how in depth it goes, and there still is the social side of things, which is another main reason why I love Persona 5. So yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about the fact that the PlayStation 4 is dead in Japan, kinda. Nintendo's bought the Luigi Mansion 3 developer, and Epic is going to the mall because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show at patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Of course, on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can write in to be part of the show with your questions. You can write in to have your names shared for Squad Up, and we can all play games together. You can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show we do each and every episode. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can watch live as we record it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching live on Twitch, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, Rooster Teeth, and of course, everyone listening on podcast services around the globe each and every weekday. Housekeeping for you. Guess what? It is January 5th, 2021, which means it is officially 6 years since we started Kinda Funny as an independent operation. Of course, yesterday we did the Kinda Funny day stream we always do to start the year, to celebrate a bunch of new stuff, announce a bunch of new stuff. You all came out in the thousands to support us and help us raise money for the new year. Of course, some of the big stuff we announced, even though I will never be able to get through it all quickly and efficiently, is that we hired Snowbike Mike. We are continuing the Xcast. We brought on Paris Lilly to be doing the Xcast with Snowbike Mike and Gary Whitta as a permanent third chair. If that wasn't enough, we have committed to twitch.tv/kindafunnygames in a way we never have before. Snowbike Mike's job on top of the Xcast is that he will lead at least 2 hour long live stream after every episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily, where we can play video games and hang out together. So that means, yes, today after this, the first one is happening. It's Nick and Andy, and I think they're playing some Warzone. We'll see where they end up, though. Doggy dog. On top of that, we hired Roger Pokorny from the audience, from the Kinda Funny Best Friends. If you don't know Roger, you know his work. He had the Borderlands show for us for a long time. He's done a bunch of other stuff. If you've seen those little social videos going around, we started doing late last year. He was working on those. He is now here full time. He is going to be making all sorts of cool social content. He is going to be editing those streams that Mike and everybody does. He'll make them into bite-sized content. You can see wherever you want to see it. We added another Kinda Funny podcast. There's a Blessing show going on right now. It's a Raj and Blessing joint point. It is amazing. It is awesome. It is really well edited. It is Blessing talking straight to you about video game stuff. You can get that episode 1, the pilot. You can see it right now on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, or you can wait for it to come to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames next week. Blessing, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's more, but that was like the big stuff, and that's a lot. I'm just saying something. All right.
How does it feel to have like 6 years under your belt now? It's kind of funny.
That's a huge question that I don't think I have the bandwidth mentally to deal with, right? Like right before this, Tim and I were on a phone call. I can't believe 6 years in I still do that, and I've known them longer. I was talking to Tim before this, and it was very much like, it's so funny to go from yesterday's 6 years, the celebration. Of course, please go to the YouTube channels, watch the amazing video announcing all this stuff. It's starts with a video edited by Corey Cudney that is a good, first off, a recap of 2020, and then a goodbye to the studio since we're officially out of the original studio. We still have that brand new studio we will go to when it's safe and we can't all die. But yesterday is one of those things where we're talking about the future, we're talking about the past, it's all the stuff. And, I think, I don't know how it is for you, Blessing. I'd imagine it's similar, but like, our jobs are awesome. This connection with the audience is awesome. And I think on a day-to-day basis, it's so easy to get wrapped up in problems, issues, this, that, the other, that are things you need to address, but aren't what defines the company, aren't what does this, right? Yesterday and all this other stuff, these big things. But like, to go from yesterday of it already being like, man, we've done so much amazing stuff. Get out of the wires, Portillo. We've done so much amazing stuff, but then also today to be right back to we're honed down to this one thing. And I'm like, I understand we're mad, or we're not mad. We're trying to crack this code. We're trying to solve this problem right now, Tim. But this is a grain of sand on the beach that is kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like next year and this time, we're not going to be thinking about this one thing. This is such a rear view problem. So it's 6 years of Kind of Funny is ridiculous because it is, on the one hand, it feels like yesterday that I was at IGN. On the other hand, it feels like a lifetime ago. I feel like a year of Kind of Funny feels like it's 4 years at once. Like so much happens. We change so dynamically. We change in like, especially last year of how weird 2020 was and everything we did. Like it's always humbling. You know what I mean? And I think that now more than ever, last time on the Kind of Funny podcast is how we ended the stream with the 12-hour stream with a Kind of Funny podcast, as tradition dictates. And at the end, we were, going around saying nice things about everybody to your right from this question. And, Tim said something I thought I felt for a long time, but I don't think I've ever vocalized that Andy was the start of this Kind of Funny, right? And not in the way that like, I think Andy is like, and I love Andy. Andy's great. We could do he's a huge part of the company, but I don't think it is Tim's right, but it's not in the way that Andy changed everything. It was, Andy was the first time we brought somebody in. I'll never forget when Andy was moving out here. And I was like, yeah. And I was talking to him like, when does he get here? And he's like, oh, he's in Arizona right now driving. And that was the first time it dawned on me of like, oh my God, Andy blew up his life for this job. Like I blew up my life for IGN, and that was the first time where it was like, oh shit, like we're the adults in the room. I didn't think that through. And so to be there last night with everybody, all the full timers except Cool Greg, because he will not come on Discord, in this one room talking and see, you and Roger and Barrett and all these people that I remember from, community events now being part of Kind of Funny, to see how, you, especially Blessing, how you fucking killed 2020 and blossomed and like, took on all this responsibility and became something like, I think it was so hard 6 years ago, even 6 years ago when Colin and me weren't in a video. And people would be like, who are Tim and Nick? You know what I mean? Like there was concern like of trying to start a business that way of like, is that how it's always going to be? Like, is it one of those things that it can't exist without one of us on camera or something? And so like the fact that there's a Blessing show right now is fucking phenomenal and better than anything I could make. And nobody's in the comments going, where the fuck's Greg? You know what I mean? Like that's what it's all about. So thank you all as always for what you've done.
That's awesome
for us.
And congratulations. And like, for me, as someone who started off as a fan, right, in 2015 when you guys started, and even before that, like listening to Beyond and stuff,
sure,
I never really thought about like how 6 years later would look like. When I was listening to you guys in the spare bedroom in 2015, I never thought about what 2021 would look like for Kind of Funny.
Yeah, and
now getting here and like looking around and seeing what it is, like one, it's hard to believe that it's been 6 years, but then also it's hard to believe that like. I want to say y'all, but I guess we have grown and like become this. And again, like congratulations to the company. This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you and Barrett, huge part of that. So thank you for coming on this journey with us. But of course, Kind of Funny Best Friends, you're a huge part of it as well. If you didn't know, we are, of course, doing the normal thing where we have a fundraising thermometer encouraging you to go subscribe on patreon.com/kindoffunny and patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. As usual, you fill it in, it gets you new shows and stuff. We already smashed the goal we set, so we have to come up with a bunch of stretch goals for the next 12-hour one. But for the first time ever, since we're doing so much Twitch stuff, we're also saying that if you subscribe on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, that goes into the coffers, the thermometer there too. So maybe you're an audio listener, maybe you just listen to Games Daily. It would mean a lot if you went over to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames and subscribed. Maybe use that Amazon Prime subscription you get for free. However, if you don't want to spend any money on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, we're also saying that if you go for free to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, click the follow button and click the notification button. Those count for the thermometer as well this time around, as we want to make sure people are watching all the cool stuff we're doing live for this year. And as we said a lot yesterday, if you missed it, and to put a pin in this and get to the gaming news, this is really us talking about the first 6 months of Kind of Funny. The plan, of course, is that in June, and again, that's a knock on wood. Let's see how vaccines and COVID go. We'll be able to go safely back to the brand new office, this huge, 5 times bigger than the old place, and then start that half of the year as Kind of Funny. But we'll see if that actually happens and when that is. And we're not going to rush it. We want everybody to be safe. But for now, we're talking about that and all the cool shit we're doing. And like I said, there's a lot more. You can go to either YouTube channel and watch the announcement video there. For now, though, thank you to our Patreon producer, Blackjack. Today, we're brought to you by Express VPN, Honey, and PillPack, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 4 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
Barrett, is it new that they're seeing you? Like you got a little Kev cam going. Is that new?
Yeah, I finally took the 2 minutes it takes to do this, like last night. I was like, awesome. I was waiting to do things last night, and I was like, you know what? I got to fuck with OBS anyway, so let's do this. So, hi.
Good. I love it. Good job. Good job there. Number 1, Sony Japan is discontinuing most PlayStation 4 models. This is Andy Robinson over at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has officially discontinued the PS4 Pro and all but one model of the original PlayStation 4 in Japan. As reported by Japanese publication Game Watch, the only last-gen console Sony will continue to sell in Japan is the standard jet black 500GB PlayStation 4 Slim model. All other PS4 consoles will disappear once current stock is sold, the publication reports, and SIE will divert production to PS5. There's currently no confirmation on whether PS4 Pro will be discontinued in Western markets. However, last month, the official PlayStation US store briefly stated that it would no longer offer PlayStation 4 Pro consoles for sale, suggesting that the premium last-gen console could be discontinued. Shortly after press coverage highlighted this statement, PlayStation Direct removed the messaging, stating that it no longer planned to stock PS4 Pro in the future, although the console remains unavailable. Doesn't make sense to me. VGC has contacted PlayStation for comment and will update this article when we receive a response. Considering the strong demand for PlayStation 5 and the company's stated ambition to transition players to the next-gen console, quote, at a scale and pace that we've never delivered on before, end quote, it would be unsurprising if it were to begin phasing out. It would be unsurprising if it were to begin phasing out the older system in other territories, even if it plans to support it with software for several more years. At $400, PS4 Pro is the same price as the entry-level PS5 Digital Edition, which is $100 cheaper than a disc-based PS5. In a statement published last month, Sony suggested PS5 had enjoyed the biggest console launch in history after beating PlayStation 4's record. Microsoft discontinued its most powerful last-gen console, the Xbox One, this summer in the run-up to November's Xbox Series X/S launches. Blessing, Are you shocked to see the pivot so quickly?
Not at all. I think it's all pretty much explained in those two sentences, right? Like at $400, PS4 Pro is the same price as the entry-level PS5 Digital Edition. It makes, I think, little sense to have both those things on stock at the same time because not that it causes confusion, because I think you can easily see like, okay, cool, PS4 is different from a PS5, but when you have those things, when you have those two products battling it out for the same price point, I think that does cause this divide of people who are going into a store and trying to figure out like what they want. And I wonder what that does do to the sales of a PS4 Pro when you can just go, oh, well, PS5 is here, digital edition. I might as well just get that because that is the better system. And so I think that's number one. And then number two, there's been such a big demand for the PS5, and the PS5 has been so successful to the point where they're not able to manufacture enough to supply for demand, that I could see them being like, all right, like people are converting at a faster rate. Let's just put way more focus into the PS5 this time around and have people convert quickly, because PlayStation has said before that they're a believer in generations, and whether or not like you want to believe them when they say that or not, because they're still making games on the PS4, throw that out. Like that lines up with this thinking of let's usher people into the new generation, because so many people have the PS4 now. Pretty much everybody has a PS4. We don't really need to keep selling these things as much.
Yeah, Matt Piscatella, of course, friend of the show and analyst at MPD, put out a tweet today that reads like this. I know we've been talking about the big uptick in hardware demand all summer, but it's still shocking just how quickly last-gen consoles have effectively exited the market. This console transition has been hitting like hitting a light switch. Now, we just need more of the new boxes. I think that's the biggest thing is like, how many could you be selling right now if you had more PlayStation 5s on the shelves? That seems to be the only thing stopping people from buying PlayStation 5s, that you can't get your hands on them. And yeah, you're right. In a perfect world, right, when they are able to be on the shelves, why would you want a $400 PS4 Pro competing with a $400 PS5 digital edition? Who would buy that, right? This is all about giving, as always, when you're a company, giving the customer a choice, right? And so to have the base PlayStation 4 500 gigabyte there, sure, whatever, and then you have the PS5, then you have or digital, and then you have PS5 disc drive. Again, that works into getting people into the PlayStation 5 ecosystem, because if you're looking at a PlayStation 4 base model and then you look over and the digital PS5's right there for $100 more, you know what I mean, whatever the price cut's going to be on just a base PS4 laying around, you start having that math. And then if you can get over the hump of $100 to PS5, can you get over it one more time to get to the disc version? Like that's just how you want to get consumers funneled in.
When do you think they stop making PS4 games?
See, that's a hard question. And when you say them, do you mean?
I mean Sony first party.
Sony first party. I think this is probably the last year of it. Wouldn't you? Like, I mean, I guess. I mean, you could. The thing about it is, I guess it's going to be a sliding scale for a while, and also we're in the dark in terms of how many PlayStation 5s are sold, how many they'll be able to get on the shelves this year, how many they'll sell this year. I think you will see the AAA stuff drift away. I think you're going to see your Naughty Dogs, your Sony Santa Monica, stuff like that. I think this is your last year to get that done. And even then, as we talked about in PS I Love You, available right now, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and podcast services around the globe. In the post show, I guess, actually, so it's just Patreon. We talked about God of War Ragnarok and if that was actually going to hit this year. And I feel like that's the last one that I think could slip into 2022 and still have a PlayStation 4 version and be okay. And I think if you do from there, it's weird. But I think if PlayStation keeps making deals like Returnal with Housemarque, if I was putting out Returnal in 2022, I'd still say, oh, let's put out a PlayStation 4 version as well. Let's make our money on these smaller games that don't have the necessary juice to move a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So,
go for it.
Sorry, just really quick. Like, how quickly did they phase out making PS3 games and like having both? Because I like
even there
me,
though,
like on the outside looking in, it felt really quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I think the thing there, especially even for Matt Piscatella jumping in here, who has numbers behind his thoughts and opinions, right? For him to say this, for how Switch it is, it's like I felt the same way, where it's like I moved to PlayStation 5 and I haven't thought about PlayStation 4. And it's like, so when somebody makes a comment about it, it's like, oh, right, that's a weird thing too. But even PS3 to PS4 and PS4 to PS5 are apples and oranges, because you figure like PlayStation 4 couldn't play a PlayStation 3 game, where a PlayStation 5 can. And we are talking about these shifts, right? Of like, cool, this console is just an iteration of it. It is the next step of a PlayStation 4 Pro. I do think it, has all these bells and whistles and whatever, yada, yada to it, but like, yada, 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 yada. But it's, that's a good song. I watched a lot of TikTok.
It's such a good song, right?
I watched TikTok a lot this time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is one of those where I don't think you feel like you're getting screwed when you're seeing, and this is me personally, Miles Morales on both, Horizon on both. Especially when Bugsnax on both. Especially when I see Jen playing Bugsnax on PS4 and she has these load screens that I just don't fucking have, right? Like, I'm happy that that's the iteration so far. Obviously, 2027, we'll be looking at what a PlayStation 5 game is doing and be like, oh my God, there's no way a PlayStation 4 could do this. But that's them learning and the industry changing and keeping up and PCs and all that jazz. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
It feels like there's less of an incentive this time around to really put out a game that truly shows off what next gen can do in a way that I felt like there was a little bit of that last time around. Like this time around, when it comes to making a next gen game right now in 2020/2021, I imagine the bells and whistles you see are, oh, hey, here's how Miles Morales uses the DualSense, or here's how these games load quicker, or here's how ray tracing works. And these are all things that can kind of scale up and down in terms of making a PS4 and a PS5 version. Like just because Miles Morales has DualSense integration doesn't mean that they can't make that for PS4. Or just because Miles Morales looks slightly better doesn't mean they can't scale down for PS4 in a way that I think during the transition from the PS3 to PS4 era, there was less, like, one, for what you said, right? Like you couldn't play PS3 games on PS4. And so like, why would you go through the work of making a PS3 game when people aren't getting it on the new console?
No.
But then also like you didn't have people double dipping in that same sort of way, except for a few exceptions, like Metal Gear Solid 5, or I think Destiny also, and Persona 5 original. Sony first party didn't, I don't think, really made any exclusives for both platforms as far as I'm aware. Like Killzone Shadowfall was PS4.
Yeah. You're talking about a cross-gen PlayStation exclusive
like
that was
a
first party? No,
Mhm.
that didn't happen, right?
And the difference between that, like then and now, is probably because of the amount of PS4 owners, right?
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Back to this, and I'm sorry about the light today, but I also figured my eyes have been exploding in the last 4 weeks of content. I think it's because I'm way too close to the screen, so I got to deal with this. The thing is, like, if you're a third party and you're making a game that isn't trying to be this graphical powerhouse, yada yada yada, like, you're a fool not to just make the PlayStation 4 version. If you're an indie, like, that's great that I can make that maybe, and if it's easy to make a PlayStation 5 version, great, do it or whatever. But like, for anything else, why wouldn't you have all these millions of PlayStation 4s ready to go, and hopefully an audience that understands that, oh, they play on my PlayStation 5 too? Because I think now when stuff's going to the stores, if you have a PlayStation 5 and something comes to the store, it's a new PlayStation game. You're not I don't think you're sitting there going, oh, it's a PlayStation 4 game. Oof, last gen. You're like, no, this is great. Like, inevitably, like I feel like I'm exhausted from yesterday. I'm fucking pumped on coffee, and I haven't done this show in forever. So it's like this weird excitement.
Oh yeah, dude, I feel the exact same. I feel the exact same thing too. Where I drank so much whiskey last night, and then this morning I also didn't eat breakfast, and I had horrible sleep last night because I tweeted out I had.
Like, you had sleep paralysis last night too.
Yeah,
right?
It was so fucking weird. Yeah, I had sleep paralysis.
Did you see a monster?
Time. I thought I saw somebody breaking into my window. Like, I was positive. So this is what happened, right? Like, I was just getting terrible sleep last night. I think partly because I was drinking, but also partly because like the excitement and nervousness of getting back to work and everything going on. I was waking up a lot last night, and there was this one time where like I was just awake, lying in bed, and I saw somebody walking outside my window and trying to like get in, and I was like, "Is somebody breaking into my room?" And then I like. As that's happening, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna like say something or move, and I just couldn't. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then I like ended like a few minutes later, I ended up like, I guess, regaining consciousness and being moved. And like it hit me that I was like, oh, I think that was sleep paralysis. Such a weird thing.
Yeah, I know. Way back in the day of the Game Over Greggy show, Darshell Stevens came on, and she was talking about having sleep paralysis, and I was like, "Oh my god, does this sound like a fucking nightmare?"
Terrifying. It was honestly one of the scariest things I've ever experienced, because I legit thought like somebody was gonna come into my room and kill me.
Jeez. Back to the video game point I was making. That is, I mean, it was just us talking, but like, inevitably, when Hades comes to PlayStation, I imagine that's just gonna be a PlayStation 4 game. Like, are we going to still care about bells and whistles that they could put to PlayStation 5, especially if they could just be like, hey, this thing plays faster and less low, you know what I mean? Like, it looks sharp as shit. Who cares? Like, if it's running in 4K, who cares? If it's running in Super HD, who cares? Like, I don't think you're going to see indies worry as much about PlayStation 5, unless I feel it's something like Bugsnax, where you are a marquee title for us, so we're paying you to make sure there is a PlayStation 5 version of this.
Yeah. No, I think that definitely makes sense, and also like for the fact that the console is backwards compatible, you don't have that bump of being a game that is only available on the PS5 and being part of that limited library in the same way that on the Switch, for example, so many games in that first year were selling like crazy because they were the only things you could pick up on the Switch. You don't really have that situation on the PS5, and so it's like, why make a game that's a PS5 exclusive when you can get to a larger audience?
Yeah, if there's no money behind it from PlayStation, I think you're going to see everybody go to PlayStation 4 and be like, yeah, sure, it loads faster on PS5. That's your PS5 version. Just enjoy it. Who cares? Backwards compatibility. Speaking of Nintendo, number 2 on the Roper Report, Nintendo acquires Next Level Games. This is Marie D'Alessandra over at GamesIndustry.biz. Nintendo announced the acquisition of Vancouver-based studio Next Level Games for an undisclosed sum. Shares of the Luigi Mansion 3 developer were previously owned by its directors and employees, a number of which recently decided to sell, creating an opportunity for Nintendo to make the studio its wholly owned subsidiary, the announcement said. The deal, which details haven't been revealed, is expected to close on March 1st, 2021. Next Level Games was created in 2002 and is well known for its partnerships with Nintendo on series such as Mario Strikers and Luigi's Mansion, as well as 3DS title Metroid Prime Federation Force. In the announcement, Nintendo said the acquisition will only have minor effects on its result for the fiscal year. With this purchase, the platform holder said it wanted to, quote, secure NLG's development expertise and availability of its resources, quote, as well as facilitate an anticipated improvement in development speed and quality by enabling closer communication and exchange of staff with the Nintendo development team, end quote. Luigi's Mansion 3 released in late 2019 to very positive reviews, with the game becoming the biggest Switch launch of that year in the UK. Are you stoked? Blessing Adeoye Jr. Did you play Luigi's Mansion 3?
No, I'm not really a Luigi's Mansion person.
Oh, come on. Ghostbusters.
But this is cool, though. Like, this very much strikes me as very similar as Sony acquiring Insomniac, where it's like, all right, like, you've made games for us, and we have this partnership, and we might as well secure you so that you don't go off and get bought by somebody else, and we'll lose those games. So this seems cool for that. I also think it seems cool for the idea that with them being acquired, that might mean that they can then get expanded and make even bigger like, not that Luigi's Mansion isn't big, right? But maybe they can make an even bigger Luigi's Mansion, or go on and make another Mario Strikers, which could be exciting. So that's awesome for that.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting get. I loved Luigi's Mansion 3. Like, I thought it was a little, it's a Luigi's Mansion game, so I put in a bunch of hours on 2 different plane rides and then never came back, so I never finished it because it was just the same thing. But I thought the bosses were fun, and it was a fun game overall. It was like playing a cartoon. I like this context though from Daniel Ahmad, of course, industry analyst. He put this thread up on Twitter. Nintendo has acquired Next Level Games. Nintendo is extremely conservative when it comes to mergers and acquisitions, with its last major acquisition being Monolith Soft in 2007. So why did Nintendo acquire NLG now, and what does it mean for both companies? A quick thread. NLG has been a key partner for Nintendo since 2005 when it first worked on Super Mario Strikers. It has been working exclusively with Nintendo since 2011, and its recent release, Luigi's Mansion 3, sold over 8 million units and is on track to outsell the prior 2 games combined. NLG has helped increase the value of Nintendo's IP, and it's clear the developer can produce multi-million selling hits. What changed recently is that owners of NLG were looking to sell their shares in the company and began talking to potential buyers. Nintendo moved to acquire the studio for 3 key reasons. Number 1, to acquire a talented studio with proven success. Number 2, to strengthen internal development on owned IP. And number 3, to avoid the NLG group being sold off to a different company whose interests may not lie with those of Nintendo. Over the past few years, we have seen an increase in merger and acquisition activity in the video game sector, with large tech and gaming companies acquiring development studios. In most cases, this is fueled by the rising value of IP and the need to build talented teams. In this case, Nintendo is not engaging in M&A, mergers and acquisitions, for the same reason that say Microsoft did in regards to Bethesda, etc. For them, it's simply the 3 reasons above, with the primary aim to strengthen internal development and integrate NLG as an internal team working on an owned IP. There won't be much change in Nintendo's M&A strategy going forward, and I don't expect them to engage in the same way other gaming/tech companies have done so. Nintendo may make additional moves to secure studios like Intelligent Systems or Grezzo, etc., if needed, though. Nintendo's greatest asset is in its IP, and that's what shapes its M&A philosophy. Just thought it was interesting. It's spelling out more of what Marie wrote on GamesIndustry.biz, of course, but the way that I think when we talk about Microsoft gobbling up Bethesda, when you talk about, X and Z and Y all buying each other and doing this is such an interesting move that I don't think about Nintendo doing first party stuff, really. When we talk about, Xbox buying studios, then there's, us over on PlayStation being like, wait, Jim Ryan said this Are they going to buy more studios? Are they going to make more Sony first parties? What are they doing about this? And you see it as an arms race. You see it as them trying to snatch up. You see it as them trying to sell their platform. Whereas with Nintendo, I really do think it is about who can make our IP multi-million-dollar games, who can take our things in a trusted way and do something cool with them. And that's an interesting strategy you don't see often, Bless.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Like, I've never really thought about Nintendo as having a first party studio lineup in the same way that, like, you know, Sony has Santa Monica and Guerrilla and Sucker Punch and Insomniac and all these studios. And Nintendo, like, they do, but we just don't think about them the same way because they are pretty much working on Nintendo IP. And, like, they have, like, I always get them mixed up with the other one. I think Retro is the one I'm thinking of that, like, that works on Metroid. Yeah. Like, they have Retro, right? Like, we think of that as a Nintendo studio, but then beyond that, like, Nintendo has Nintendo first party, and that's kind of it. And so, like, I find these acquisitions interesting for that. I wonder if this is just them, like, doing more Luigi's Mansion, or if they're going to go back to something like Mario Strikers, which I think would be cool because Mario Strikers, very fun game.
I would think they do. I think they go back to something like that. I think it's more of a switch off thing of trying to, especially seeing the success that Luigi's Mansion had. Like, you can be like, oh, it sold more than the last two combined. Like, what a great game. Sure. But it's also the fact that Switch is a runaway success, right? Like, people buy Nintendo IP on Switch because that's why we have that system. That's what we want to play on it. That and every indie we can take with us. So yeah, I think this would be another chance to breathe life into that. I'm still waiting. I know this isn't them, but in general, where's my Mario Golf, right? I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there going, where's my Mario Strikers?
Oh yeah.
Like, those kind of games have a huge chance of success. I mean, they're no brainer. They're going to be successful on it, right? Even Mario Tennis Aces, which arguably wasn't that great, that fleshed out of a Mario tennis game, did bonkers on the system. People
it was good enough. Like,
exactly.
At the very least, Mario Tennis Aces was better than Mario, I think, Power Tennis, the one before it. And so, as long as they're good enough, like, the games are gonna sell. Mario Golf, I think, is for sure in the works. Mario Strikers, I'm, like, less sure on because I think it's been since, like, since they made a new one. And I think it was Imran tweeting on Twitter talking about how, like, Mario Striker, like, Nintendo's just a weird company in general. Mario Strikers as a game kind of made Nintendo go, okay, we gotta lock down how we portray our characters more, because this has, like, and this is me ad-libbing and adding in editorial, but essentially the idea of these guys have way too much attitude. Like, the way you guys have Mario, like, frowning and doing all this shit is way too much, which doesn't surprise me from Nintendo for as weird of a company they are. And so, like, I wonder if they go back to that, if it is this watered down, or not even watered down, but, like, pared back in terms of attitude soccer game that is more along the lines of Mario Tennis Aces or something like that. Either way, again, like, I'm excited for what Next Level Games has in store.
Number 3 on the Roper Report, Cyberpunk 2077 has lost 79% of its player base on Steam since launch. This is Darren Bonthus over at GameSpot. Cyberpunk 2077 has set a number of impressive sales feats since it launched last year, such as selling 13 million copies at launch and breaking records on Steam for the most concurrent users ever in a single-player game. Cyberpunk 2077 also has several other achievements that CD Projekt Red likely doesn't want to celebrate, such as Sony and Microsoft offering full refunds to customers due to multiple performance issues within the game, with Sony even going so far as to pull the game from the PlayStation Store. Better optimized on PC than on console, Cyberpunk 2077 has had a more positive reception on that platform, but has failed to maintain its player base since launch. Cyberpunk 2077 has lost 79% of its players since launch, according to GetHip's. I guess, what do you say? Get Hype, right? But it's GetHip. How do you say that? You're one of these young kids.
H-Y-P. I mean, I've never seen it spelled like that. I would say Get Hype.
Get hype. Data, which is current peak with its current peak being over 200,000 players in comparison to its December peak of over 1 million players. By contrast, it took CD Projekt Red's previous game, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, 3 months to lose that percentage. However, The Witcher 3 started from a much lower peak of around 92,000 at launch in 2015. Blessing. Cyberpunk, how you feeling?
It's such a sad story because, like, underneath all this bullshit is a game that, like, I really love. Like, I truly enjoy Cyberpunk, and it sucks that all this bullshit around it has kind of, like, dampened its
Sure.
the excitement that we've all had for it, and has fucked up with its success. This surprises me just a little bit because PC is the platform that the game runs the best on. But I will say that, like, I think when we talk about maintaining a player base for a game like Cyberpunk, which is just a straight up RPG, and a game that is way shorter than The Witcher,
way
like,
shorter than The Witcher. I think that is something that should have been pointed out in this article. The Witcher is way longer.
Exactly. Like, you can beat I beat the game in 6 days, and I've barely gone back to it because I was waiting to play it on PlayStation, and that's just not going to happen now. And I assume that the case is the same for many people who went in, were super excited about Cyberpunk, played it, binged it within a week or two, and then said, that was fun, had my time with it, and have just not gone back since. I bet that's what a lot of this is in terms of the drop off.
I think it's the game's short, and so I think you could get out of it. I think it is, even on PC, there's tons of bugs that they've talked about fixing. So why rush in and people getting saves lost in Eden? If you're like me on PlayStation, I can't platinum the game because I consistently run into different glitches that are screwing me over on it. Like I've heard so many of our friends and peers be like, I picked it up and I put it down and I'm going to wait, you know what I mean? Or I didn't even start it. I'm just going to wait for the PlayStation 5 version or until they fix the PC version. I think there's so much going on, but I'm there with you of like, I had a great time with Cyberpunk, right? Like, platinum tomfoolery notwithstanding, like I enjoyed my run. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed it for being a Fallout. Like, you know what I mean? And not having those expectations so many people had on it. And this is not me saying free pass to the glitches, the problems, the PlayStation 4 version. Not at all. I'm saying all that fucking sucks and that's a quagmire and there should be ramifications for that. I'm just saying if we're sitting here talking about the game that I played on PlayStation 5, I enjoyed myself. I liked it. But I think with so many amazing games, is there time? Do you want to spend time on one that every day the news was getting worse and worse about? Every day there was something else horrible about Cyberpunk and like it's just a punchline, it's just a gag. Like, and then I wonder too, looking at it, of the people who are like, I'm going to wait for something. Will you ever come back to it? Like, how good does Anthem have to be when it comes back to get you to actually go play Anthem? And then get you, sure, but what about the hundreds of thousands of other people who bought it? And that's the same thing here of like, when Cyberpunk is finally, or when CD Projekt Red is finally like, Cyberpunk is complete, it is great, you're getting re-reviews on IGN and all this stuff, and people are happy with it, and they're talking about this. Is that enough to draw people in? Or are you excited to play Horizon in a week or whatever the hell's coming out or whatever else you're lost in or whatever game you're playing right now?
Yeah, TikTok is usually my benchmark for when conversations that we have in the video game world make it out into the mainstream world. Mm-hmm. And over the Christmas break, where we've had more and more news about Cyberpunk break, right? The lawsuit and all this different stuff. Part of me has been asking myself, like, okay, how much of this is centered around video games media and how we talk about things, and how much of this actually has made it out to
how do people know?
Yeah, how much do people actually know, right? And obviously, like, it getting taken off PlayStation is a very huge thing, and I'm sure everybody knows that. But it wasn't until I was scrolling on TikTok and came across multiple TikToks that were making fun of Cyberpunk and the bugs and all this stuff, where I was like, okay, this stuff is broken through. Like, everybody is very aware of how broken this game is.
The kids know. The children know. They're aware. They're out there.
Yeah.
Two Slice wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, to be part of the show and support us on our 6th anniversary, and says, hold on, I'm caught my wires there. And says, with the tumultuous launch of Cyberpunk behind us, do you think that AAA games will look at it not simply as a cautionary tale for game optimization, but as a sign that focus and polish are much more important than the scope and feature promises? With indie games usually delivering on the latter, what's your take on some of the in-development next-gen AAA games turning the dial down on their scope in order to focus on delivering polished experiences?
I hope so. I hope that Cyberpunk's launch becomes this signal to folks who are working on similar kinds of big RPGs. I'm gonna look at Bethesda for.
I was gonna go right for him for Starfield, for Elder Scrolls. Yeah,
it's like, please, like, let this be a lesson of, hey, we gotta raise the bar in terms of what we expect out of bugs in games and what we expect out of performance and all this stuff, because I think we've let it slide for so long, and I think rightfully so, right? Because like, when we get a game like Fallout 3 in 2008, or we get a game like Skyrim in 2011, and these games are massive and they have so much going on in them, and they have like these great stories to tell and worlds to get lost in. so much of the stuff in terms of bugs and glitches can be overlooked because we get it. Like, we understand this is a big thing. Games are difficult to make, and that goes for games across the board, not even just RPGs or Bethesda games. But yeah, there is kind of a point where that tolerance gets broken. I think Cyberpunk was the one that kind of pushed us to the test with that. Cyberpunk, during my playthrough, came across a whole bunch of bugs, and I wish, like, honestly, my review, I think I mentioned this before. I wish I wrote down every single bug I came across and actually like went through the list. But like, part of me was like, okay, well, this is a day one patch. I gotta draw the line somewhere. Gotta have mercy. Can't talk all about these things that people may or may not experience in the final game. But like, those bugs for me were on the line of, okay, by the time I finished this game, there was enough stuff here that it definitely did hamper my experience, and this game is definitely came to me half baked. But I guess I'll let it slide because it's a big RPG that has all these different things going on. And at the end of the day, I did overall enjoy my experience with it. And part of this is also going to come down to audience and how much does the audience mind it. But that said, I do think and hope that this is a signal to companies developing games that, like, hey, optimization is important and bug fixing is important. And this is stuff that people do notice. And it's not, at the very least, for if you're a big developer, right, or if you're a Cyberpunk coming out, at the very least, you should be open and honest about review codes and letting people actually experience.
That's a different argument about what people are going to fucking get, right? And how I think your feet will be held to the fire in a different way beyond, where we were with our review, where I was like, this is concerning, but they did fine on this thing. Like, you all you can do is say, like, hey, I hope it's not going to be like that. But like, that's the thing. Where is there a two slices saying, like, our AAA is going to look as a cautionary tale. Like, this is like so far beyond a cautionary tale. Like, this is straight up lying to the audience. And like, so many people don't do that. Like, I hope there's ramifications on the smaller end of, like, I really hope that, especially with Microsoft's backing and Game Pass and everything else, and what we're already seeing with Grounded and so on and so forth, that Bethesda this next time around with Elder Scrolls, with Starfield, is just, what? It's early access. It is an early access single player. You can pay for it right now and you can play it, but you're going to run into things because guess what? That's the only way to do this. There's no possible way to do this any other way. We can put out the game, but no matter what, you're going to find bugs in this giant open world RPG we put. You're going to see systems combined that we didn't think about that are going to break something and you're going to do something. And we want to work through all of that with you rather than have this conversation again, where we meet some arbitrary deadline for investors and, stockholders, and we put it out and it is shit and you hate us. We don't need another Fallout 76. Fallout 76 should have been put out this way. Yeah. And granted, that's an online MMO kind of thing going on, or not MMO, but lots of people playing together online. This is a single player. It doesn't matter. Like, that's how this game has got to be. And that, because I think for those kind of games, for those open world Western RPGs, that is what you're expecting. You're expecting this giant world you can go anywhere in, right? Honestly, it's one of the things I missed playing Cyberpunk and being in Night City, is that I didn't have the feeling I had of walking out of the vault in Fallout 3 or 4, but especially 3 when we didn't know any better. But when it was so brand new, of like, I walked out of the vault and it was just like, go anywhere. Like, where do you want to go? Where do you want your story to begin? It was like, oh my God. Whereas Cyberpunk is very much like, get this quest, go here, get this quest, go here. And sure, it can be, here's a side gig, here's a thing, here's an NCPD mission to go do. But in the end, I don't know Night City. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I knew Megaton. I felt like I knew Boston in Fallout 4. Like, I knew those streets from being in them and existing and then running around. Whereas in Night City, I couldn't. You could drop me right now in any of the different districts, and I'd be like, is this Watson? I don't know. Like, it just doesn't feel like these have personalities that way.
Yeah. So I'm definitely with that.
I hope that, like, too, we. Well, I'm just gonna say we. I'm sorry. Everyone on the internet except Blessing Adeoye Jr. really liked Miles Morales.
How dare you?
Being a dialed-in AAA story that was like, here's a shorter thing, so it is more polished. Granted, you could swing around as a dumpster or a light pole if you did some things and screwed it around. But like, for the most part, right, that is here's a AAA game that isn't trying to be 60 hours. It is trying to be like a cool story that's telling you something. Can we learn something from that even? I don't know. Blessing,
Greg,
I got one more story on the Roper report, but before then, I'm going to remind you, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can be part of the show. But more importantly for this, you can get the show ad-free. Speaking of ads, Greg Way, let me tell you about our sponsors. Up first is Express VPN. How did you choose which internet service provider to use? The sad thing is most of us have very little choice because ISPs operate like monopolies in the regions they serve. They then use this monopoly power to take advantage of their customers. Data caps, streaming throttles, the list goes on. But worst of all, many ISPs log your internet activity and sell that data to other big tech companies for advertisements. To prevent ISPs from seeing our internet activity, Kind of Funny protects its devices with ExpressVPN. So what is ExpressVPN? It's a simple app for your computer or smartphone that encrypts all of your network data and tunnels it through a secure VPN server so that your ISP cannot see any of your activity. Just think about how much of your life is on the internet. Sadly, every site you visit, video you watch, or message you send gets tracked by ISPs or other tech giants who can then sell your information for profit. That's the reason Kind of Funny recommends ExpressVPN as the best way to hide your online activity from your ISP. You download the app, tap one button on your device, and you're protected. And ExpressVPN does all of this without slowing your connection. That's why it's rated the #1 VPN service by CNET and Wired. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech giants who mine your activity and sell your information. Protect yourself with the VPN Kind of Funny trusts to keep us private online. Visit expressvpn.com/games. That's expressvpn.com/games to get 3 months extra for free. Go to expressvpn.com/games right now to learn more. Up next is Honey. These days, it feels like online shopping is the only shopping we ever do. That's why today's sponsor, Honey, is here to save you. It's the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and automatically tests them to see when you're checking out what you get. You've heard me read this ad before. I usually just ad-lib it. Why? Because I use Honey all the time. Right there, Blessing. I'm tapping it. You hear it? Or you can't hear it because the mic's far away.
I can't hear it.
But right there, I'm tapping my screen where it's a little Honey icon. It's a little H. It's an _H in cursive. And what happens is it lights up when I go to check out on things, and it'll test coupon codes. So when I'm checking out on, first off, Honey installs in like 2 clicks. You do it. It's free. I suggest you log in, though, because then you bank Honey coins that you can then use. I use them on Amazon gift cards. I digress. But when you're checking out, the little dancing coin comes down. It runs a bunch of different coupon codes. If it finds one that will work, it'll put it in for you and save you money. It's free money on the internet. Honey has found over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. Honey supports all kinds of retailers, from tech and gaming sites to fashion brands and even food delivery. It's simple. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. It's free and it works with whatever browser you use. You can get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/games. That's joinhoney.com/games. So they know we sent you. Thanks, Honey, for supporting today's episode. And then our final sponsor is Amazon Pharmacy. Chances are you use Amazon Prime. If you have it, you have Twitch Prime. Give it to us on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. But have you used Amazon Pharmacy yet? That's right. Prescriptions delivered to your door by Amazon, just like the toilet paper and Funko Pops you're probably already getting delivered from Amazon. You know what I mean, Bless? It saves you time and keeps you out of the waiting line at the pharmacy. It's easy. Have your doctor's office send your next prescription straight to Amazon Pharmacy. You can use your insurance. Amazon Pharmacy works directly with most insurance plans nationwide. Amazon Prime members get free 2-day delivery and save on prescription medication when paying without insurance. Tim needed some medication over the break after a doctor's visit. He used Amazon Pharmacy and said it was super easy and worked just like Amazon, and I use Amazon all the time, so I'm gonna start using Amazon Pharmacy. Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance and get free 2-day delivery. Learn more at amazon.com/gamesrx. That's Amazon, AMAZON.com/games with an S, RX, GAMESRX. Amazon.com/gamesrx.
Greg, I saw somebody earlier in chat ask, like, Bless, can you finish your story? To which, in my mind, I was like, I finished my story. I didn't make it clear, though, that the person I saw outside my window was a hallucination. They weren't actually there. Nobody was actually.
I got that.
Yeah.
Because sleep paralysis, people, if you've never heard a sleep paralysis story, right? The idea is that you half wake up, so you can't move. Your body still feels like it's asleep, and then you also are half in a dream, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so people tend to hallucinate a lot of time in sleep paralysis, and a lot of people talk about seeing like witches or like demons or whatever sitting in the corner or sitting on their chest, like not letting them get up. And I never heard of anybody like seeing somebody out their window, but as soon as I tweeted about it, I had other people be like, "Oh yeah, like I've seen that before," which is weird that people have like these shared experiences. But yeah, no, that's part of sleep paralysis is you hallucinate.
Yeah, I think it was again when Darshell was talking about it. She has some kind of little like demon troll, whatever the hell. I'm like, oh god, no, thank you. Couldn't do it. You know what I mean? That's why I got Porty. He protects me. Number 4 on the Roper Report: Epic's moving into a mall. This is Matt TM Kim at IGN. Epic Games has bought an entire mall with plans to turn its unused location into a new headquarters in Cary, North Carolina. In a press release, Epic Games announced that it has purchased a 980,000 square foot and 87-acre Cary Town Center Mall, which will become the new Epic Games campus by 2024. This includes plans to create both office buildings and recreational spaces for long-term use. Development on the new HQ will begin later this year, and in the meantime, Epic Games will remain at its current Crossroads Boulevard location in Cary, the city Epic Games has been based in for over 20 years. Quote, "We're extremely proud that Epic has chosen to call Cary home for their new global headquarters, and we greatly appreciate the company's recognition of Cary's existing assets, as well as the unlimited potential of the area for their growing business," Cary Mayor Harold Weinbrake said in a statement. That's fucking baller.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? Like, think about that. Like, I think all the dead malls in my old town, and if we were still like in fucking DuPage County, Illinois, or whatever, buy Stratford Square Mall, bulldoze it, and have an 87-acre compound for Kind of Funny. Holy shit!
If somebody asked me at the beginning of 2017 what game was going to come out that year that would allow for a company years down the line to like move into a mall as a new headquarters, I would not have guessed Fortnite.
No
like
way.
For Fortnite's success, and we've talked about it like a billion times, Fortnite's success is the most surprising thing to come out of this generation, and we don't think about that specific part of it, like the lead up to Fortnite and how nobody cared about that game. Like nobody, I heard nobody talk about Fortnite. Like they announced Fortnite in the beginning of the decade, I want to say.
Yeah, one of the Spike Awards, right, where they had that first trailer.
Yeah,
came out, I think, and showed off the first trailer for it.
Yeah, and like disappeared. It's like if Agent reappeared and came out next year and turned Rockstar. It was Rockstar that was developing Agent, right?
Yeah,
it was Rockstar, and turned Rockstar into like 3 times of a bigger company. Like that's pretty much what happened with Fortnite, and so that's crazy.
For me, it was cool. I remember when Fortnite got announced. I remember, that seems interesting, zombies or whatever, tower defense. Then it was quiet forever, and then it was at E3 Judges Week 2017 where Epic was doing a thing and we were going to go see it. And I remember going down to the basement of the hotel for Judges Week, going in there, getting this presentation of them. And I think, I don't even remember if we could play it. I think it was just a hands-off visual presentation of playing base Fortnite. And I remember watching it and being like, oh, that seems kind of cool, but like, I'll never, I don't want to do this. I don't want to run around and build bases or whatever, yada, yada. And then just the fucking astronomical rise of them being like, you know what? We love PUBG, so we're going to make a battle royale too. PUBG be like, I don't know if you can do that. Like, we did it, and now we're bigger than you, and it's all over. Fuck you.
Wow. What do you think is the next big step for Epic? We got the Epic Game Store. They're putting out Unreal Engine 5 this year, right?
2021, yeah.
2021, yeah.
That little video, yeah.
We got Fortnite. Right now. They acquired Rocket League. They're doing all these big things. What do you think is next for them after they take out Apple?
I was gonna say that's it, right? They got to get through this lawsuit with Apple. Are they gonna win it? Are they gonna free Fortnite? Oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. Who can say? Like, who can call what these people are doing over there? It's I feel like they keep paying it forward with like how they're trying to make it, better for developers on their stores and to use the Unreal Engine and marketplace and all that jazz. I guess they keep, fucking finding new ways to keep Fortnite in the conversation and interesting, right? Like, I completely forgot that I signed up for the Fortnite subscription on because I needed V-Bucks anyway when we started playing again, so I did that, and I was like, I'll cancel it after this because like I didn't even like the skin that came with the first Fortnite season or first Fortnite Pass season, and then it was like they dropped Green Lantern or announced Green Lantern or Green Arrow. God, they announced Green Arrow, and I was like, oh, that's cool, but I don't know if I'm glad I canceled my subscription. Didn't cancel it. It rolled over. I have Green Arrow. I'm like, all right, I got Green Arrow. I got Green Arrow and a bunch of V-Bucks. Whatever. Keep taking it. It's fine. I'm enjoying myself. I don't know. They have more money than God, and that makes them, I don't know if they're literally untouchable, but they definitely make moves as if they're untouchable. So
yeah.
What comes next and what game they make or where they take all that, I think, continuing to iterate on Fortnite and making that into a different thing and respond to that audience is a big part of it.
I'm going to make a very bold prediction that probably will not happen. 99% will not happen, but I want to make it just in case it does happen. And I can point back to this video and be like, see, I told you. Epic, years down the line from now, announces a new console. that goes head to head against the Microsoft Xbox and PlayStation.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it right now. Clip it out. Come back to this clip.
I don't
7
think
years
it's
from now.
I don't think it's as crazy as you think it is. Blessing.
Because I would think they would do it, and it would be more of like what Valve was always trying to do with Steambox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we made this
could see that,
baller
yeah.
ass PC kind of thing that like, you can move some shit in, but it's like, here it is, and you can get it for $500 or whatever it is, and it's gonna be amazing.
But the reason the question will be if that'll be like Epic, if they do something like that, if that'll be like Epic's first flop or stuff like that, because anything that tries to go up against like Xbox, PlayStation, it just doesn't have that like name recognition.
It's also the thing of like, do they want to, is that where they want to be? You know what I mean? Like their tools are used everywhere. Their game is everywhere except iOS. Like, and well, you know what I mean? Like, do you really want to not even bite the hand that feeds you? You have all these revenue streams. Do you really also want to cut in? I think they would, for that to happen, if I'm reading the tea leaves on how Epic's been acting, they would have to feel that Xbox and Sony, the deal they're running for developers is so unjust and unfair that this is the solution, and they're going to do it.
They're like, they know somewhere. They're like, we're going to do it ourselves. Yeah, that's the one reason why I don't think it would happen, is because I don't think there's that much benefit for Epic to do that. But I also think it could be a cool, like another pillar for them of, all right, yeah, we're on these different platforms. Kind of like what Xbox is kind of evolving into, right? Like Xbox is on Xbox, but we're also on PC, and we have some of our games on Switch, and we're trying to get our games everywhere, xCloud, all that stuff. Epic could get into that same thing, and they could create their own pillar, which is a box for people's homes. Or it could be like a streaming thing. Who knows? But
I mean, that's the thing. They got Epic Game Store. Maybe that is the angle, right? Of like, here's the Epic Games box, just so you could get that and do all that. And I'm sure there's some discount because of Fortnite and yada yada yada.
Yeah. We gonna get back into Fortnite tonight? What's up?
I'm playing Bloodborne now. You know what I mean? So I got to keep doing that, and then I got to grind that Avengers trophy. I'm always down for Fortnite. Like I'll always get in for a couple matches with you.
All right. Because I think Kevin and I want to play tonight.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. If you guys start a party and I see that notification on my phone, I'll probably pop in and play.
You have so much bad FOMO, Bless.
It's so bad because as soon as anybody starts a party, and like, because the way the PS5 is now, you get the notification on your phone whenever it starts. And
which,
whenever
by the way, I love
it too.
There was so much conversation that when the PlayStation got announced, and they're ruining parties, they're changing I love the fact that I see you guys doing stuff, and I'm like, oh, if I want to jump in, I can jump in, and if not, I'm not.
I'll admit I was wrong on that for the most part. I do still miss being in my own party and not being like in the voice chat in games. And I miss a couple of things about it, but overall, it's worked out, because every time I get the notification, I'm like, okay, I'm jumping in. We're going back. It's Fortnite time.
I'm excited to see what Epic does next, Blessing, especially when they get this huge shopping mall. But 2024 is still so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, say what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, Orion, The Eternal Punishment is on PC and Mac. Winter Slay is on PC. Ralph's Adventure, Aztec Mystery is on PC. Then for you Red Dead Online players, Rockstar says, for a fresh start across the frontier, Red Dead Online players can ring in the new year with a free honor reset, as well as discounts for character appearance changes, such as a free haircut, along with free drinks at the local saloons to celebrate the occasion. And then Japanese Romanji Adventure is out on Steam right now. New dates for you. Cygnus Pizza Race Season 2 is coming to Steam and Vox Pop on February 12th. Path of Exile is getting a live stream on the March 13th. No, hold on, let me do this again. Path of Exile is getting a live stream that's revealing the next major expansion, 3.13.0 on January 7th. On Friday, January 8th at 7 a.m. Pacific, Riot Games will celebrate Season 2021. Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. The League of Legends universe has expanded over the year. Riot will celebrate that with an hour-long stream on Riot's YouTube page. After many great... this is the end of Minecraft Earth. After many great adventures, we've made the difficult decision to close down Minecraft Earth in June 2021. We're so grateful for all of your support, and today's last build includes several adjustments to make the last months as fun as possible.
Oh, that's sad. Isn't that was their Pokemon Go, right?
I think so, right? That's right.
I assume that would have been COVID that would have caused that shutdown.
Yeah, I saw their tweet on it. It looks like they're like images of like playing it on the phone and stuff.
This originally launched in 2019, And so it's only been 2 years, which I think makes it very evident that like COVID might have fucked that up.
Yeah, I mean, if Ghostbusters World couldn't make it, there's no way Minecraft Earth was going to make it. So that's pretty much how
It's true. It's true.
Deals of the day for you. I got some Xbox Game Pass editions and then some PlayStation Now editions. The Xbox Game Pass reads like this, though. eFootball PES 2021 season update is coming to Android and console January 7th. Injustice 2 is coming to Android, console, and PC January 7th. The Little Acre, Android and console on January 7th. And then these are all January 14th games. Neoverse on PC. Torchlight 3 on Android and console. What Remains of Edith Finch on PC. And then Y2K, a postmodern RPG on PC. Meanwhile, PlayStation Now is adding The Crew 2, Surviving Mars, and Frostpunk Console Edition. Blessing?
Greg.
We ask people watching live to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to support us, get their questions on the show, get the exclusive post show, get the show ad-free, and of course, write in with their squad up requests. If you want to play video games with the Kind of Funny best friends, you write in with your name, your platform of choice, what your username is, and why you need help in a game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you. SoloImGoingSolo needs help on PlayStation 5. The PSN username is thechuckest. It's all one word, THECHUCKEST, thechuckest. The Chuckest says, looking for people who would like to help take a noob into Warzone. I want you to know I didn't ad-lib that. I totally like took what he wrote and then for some reason in my mind screwed it all up. The meaning was there, you know what I mean? But it wasn't.
You got it.
Looking for people who would like to take a Warzone noob to the top is what he wrote. But when I got in there and immediately started trying to correct it, I was like, I'm way off. Just go. Just get whatever you can. If you want to play Warzone with the Chuckers, hit him up, PlayStation 5. We ask people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe. Ignacio Rojas says Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was the previous Mario Tennis game. It was on the Wii U. And then Nanobiologist says sleep paralysis occurs as your brain is falling asleep or waking up before your brain starts talking to the rest of your body about movement, but your brain is preparing for sleep. It normally occurs in sleep-deprived, abnormal sleep schedules, or psychological stress. Which one of those are you, Blessing?
All of the above.
No, you're getting in trouble worse.
He's been playing too much Bloodborne. That's what's giving him the stress.
Dude, a lot of people have been saying that. Replying me saying like, "Oh, it's because you've been playing Bloodborne," and it could be. I was very scared that I get nightmares playing Bloodborne, and I was right. So there you go.
Let's run you through your hosts for the week. Tomorrow it's going to be Whitta Wednesday, Blessing and Gary Whitta. Thursday it'll be Blessing and Tim, and then Friday it will be me and independent contractor Janet Garcia here to celebrate her Patreon launch week as she is independent from IGN. If you are watching live right now on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, Snowbike Mike, Andy Cortez, Nick Scarpino, and a special guest will be up next with Warzone as they go in there and shoot some stuff. If you are just watching this and you're done, thank you so much for watching. Remember, everybody, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can go right now to support us, obviously, on our 6-year anniversary. But more importantly for you, get the show with the post show we're about to do. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.